Hey guys, this is Shane here from Echo Soundworks. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can create a halftime effect without using the plugin halftime or another similar plugin. So if you're wondering why I'm not on camera, it's because I dropped my camera and it is in the shop. Luckily, it's not gone for good, but the next video will be back to normal on the channel. All right, so let's take a listen to the guitar loop that we'll be tweaking in this video without halftime on it. Now, if you want to download this loop, the link will be in the description. This loop is actually from one of our free packs that's called Riff. Riff comes with 20 loops for trap and hip hop producers. Link, again, is in the description. Now, the reason why I chose this loop wasn't just to shamelessly plug our free sample pack. It was to actually kind of put myself through the fire, make this a little bit make this a little bit more difficult than it probably needs to be for the video. But that's because when you're trying to create a manual halftime effect with a loop or audio that changes its rhythm from time to time. Like we start out with quarter notes, we have a couple eighth notes, there's a 16th note hammer on, hammer off passage in the third bar. It becomes a little bit trickier to do this manual halftime, and I didn't want to just show you with like a basic loop that had a chord on the downbeat of each bar. Now, I've seen a couple videos on YouTube or Instagram that do this really incorrectly. They basically say, first things only thing you need to do is load up like a time stretching algorithm that affects the speed, the playback speed in your DAW, and in Logic that's speed effects, and then just duplicate the length of that region. It does slow down the audio, obviously, but if we look at what's happening in bar 2, we just heard 4 notes in bar 2. Whereas if we turned on halftime and set it to a bar and listen to it, we'll turn off flex time. We're only going to hear 2 notes each bar, right? So halftime's obviously doing something a little bit different than just duplicating the audio. And what it's going to do, and what it does to the audio, is it listens back to your audio region, your incoming audio, and depending on the loop time that you have set, it's going to play back the audio a little bit differently. It's going to grab different notes within that passage depending on what notes occur when halftime's listening to the audio. The easiest way to show you what the hell I just said is to set it to a quarter note value. And when we do that with this loop, we're going to hear 4 notes per bar, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so now I can go into my audio and I can actually remove the audio in between the quarter note value. Here's 1 and 2 and, right? So I can just go and trim this up, and it's not going to affect our playback at all because halftime's just listening for what's happening right there on the quarter notes because I have it set to a quarter note value. So we will go and I'll take out some of this. There's our quarter note value. So we'll just take this out right here, delete that. Right, so this will play back the exact same. It's just a little choppier now because this needs to be extended couple ticks. Now it'll play back the same, right? And it's just because halftime I have it set to a quarter note, so it's looking at the audio right here. Now if I set this to a bar and do this, right, it's looking at when it's playing back at a bar, it's actually looking back at basically one end to end in that bar, and so it's trying to find something right here and extend it, and there's nothing there. So I can actually, if I wanted to extend this here, right? It's taking that whole first note and playing it. Now, part of this will be based off of, or will be determined by the audio material that you've loaded up. So let's actually look at how we can recreate the 1 bar sound with this guitar loop, doing it manually. So let's turn off halftime. I'm going to duplicate the track here, copy and paste it down. Now, what we're going to do is we are going to pull up my slice tool, and we are going to slice at 1 bar. And if you want to do a little kind of pro tip or kind of a hotkey tip here, hold down Alt or Option as you slice, and it will slice up your loop evenly the whole audio region length. So now we've done that. Now I'm going to take the remainder of my audio region that we just cut up and give me a little bit of space in between the first bar and the second blob or chunk of audio. Now what I'm going to do now is go to my flex modes and change this to speed. And once I've done that, I'm going to click here and drag this out so it's 2 bars in length. But what I want to do, I want to highlight all of the audio as I do this in Logic, because because watch what will happen when I push this. We're gonna, if you look over to the audio regions to the right, it's going to basically fold back on itself and delete some audio material, which is what I want to do. So now to get that halftime sound, I just simply take this first or the second region, bring it back to bar 2, and now I can take all these other regions and pop them on bars 3, 4, 5, 6, etc. And now we're gonna have the same sound that we have if we set halftime to a 1 bar length. Right, let's go back to our track above and set halftime to a 1 bar length. Right, super easy. Now the cool thing about this is you don't have to use a speed algorithm in your DAW. You can use a normal time stretching algorithm. I actually do that all the time because watch what will happen. If I change my time stretching algorithm to polyphonic, I still have the halftime speed. We're only going to hear 2 notes per octave, but it's going to be in the octave range that my guitar was in initially. Pretty cool, right? All right, so let's look at another value or time or speed. Let's change our loop and halftime to 1/2. So we hear 3 notes per bar. So let's duplicate that track. We'll turn off halftime. We're going to take our audio back down and do the same thing, but we're just going to, same process, we're just going to do our chop a little bit differently. So let me pull up my scissor tool, and we're going to chop it a half of a bar at a half a bar. We're going to drag the audio over, do the same thing, set this now to speed, and we're going to drag this out to a whole bar. And then we're going to drag the audio to the half bar that we did our first cut on, and then just drag the audio back on itself, and we should get that halftime feel from halftime. There it is. Here, if we go back to halftime, right, just to recap, the chop was different. Instead of chopping at a bar and extending to 2 bars like we did with the first option, when we're trying to get the half value in halftime, you chop at half a bar, drag it out to a bar, and then back on itself. Right? All right, we're going to do this one more time. We're going to do it with a quarter note value now. And let's go back into halftime and choose quarter note. All right, so we're just going to delete this track and start fresh, duplicate, copy and paste it down. And we're going to go pull up our scissor tool, and we're going to cut, you guessed it, at a quarter note value here instead of a half note value. And we're going to space out the audio, change our flex time to speed, and now we're just going to drag this out to a half a bar, and now we're going to drag the audio back on itself like so. So you can see that as we go up in time, our chops and our slices obviously become smaller and shorter. Same with our stretches, right? We're stretching it a lot less. So now if we play this, let's turn off halftime. There it is. So that's going to sum up the video. Just to recap, you're going to want to experiment with your cuts, your slices. You'll get different results, right? That's the cool thing. We just looked at how to recreate the sound from halftime just so I could have a, kind of like a reference or a guide to show you guys exactly what we're aiming for. But if you do slices at different points within your audio loop, or, maybe change up the rhythm of where you're changing your slice. It doesn't always have to be quarter note. Maybe 1 bar you do quarter notes, another bar you do a half note, or etc. Right? You'll get really creative, really interesting results that you wouldn't necessarily be able to get with a plugin like halftime. So that's going to sum up the video. If you guys have any questions or comments, post those. I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. And if you guys aren't subscribed to our channel, please hit that subscribe button. It does mean a lot. And if you do, smash that notification bell so you get an update when we release a new video. All right, guys, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.